So we're going to talk you through the essential setup for starting fishing. It's really simple. You can overcomplicate things and go to the tackle shop and buy a reel and a rod, or you can buy a cheap setup online that literally is a waste of time. You're not going to catch anything with it. The line's all crinkly and it's just going to put you off from fishing. So basic setup would be a 4 metre whip, preferably elasticated if you're fishing a commercial, because the chances are you'll catch something of decent size, or just a standard whip, which you can pick them up from anything from sort of £10 up to sort of £25. There's quite a few different companies now do them with elastic already fitted. Drennan do a great Vertex whip with elastic and a rig, so you can just come in the shop, buy it, off we go. So this video is just going to explain what you do once you've got that. So you take the cap off the whip, pretty straightforward, and on the end you've got your connector for the elastic. So there's a little hook inside here and a little sleeve. So on your rig, which will come with the whip normally, or if you're buying them separately, you take the small pole anchor or pole winder connector, take that off like so. Try and put it somewhere you remember it for when you come to packing away. At the end of the rig you've got a little loop. So all we're going to do is simply put the loop into the connector like so, and then we're going to slide the sleeve over the top like so, and then follow it down with there, and that now is connected to the elastic. So one key thing is with elasticated whips is to slowly unwind, and as you're unwinding just slide the next section of the whip out, just like so. Alright, pretty simple. So we're unwinding it, there's the float. So I'm just going to talk quickly about the rig that I'm using. So it's a gram rig, which is quite heavy, but if you're fishing a whip you want something slightly heavier so that you can flick the rig out, and you'll see that why in a second. So these ready rigs are brilliant. I recommend the Drennan, Preston, they all do some fantastic ready rigs. They already come with a hook on and a hook length, and normally a barbless hook. So, excuse me, you got your Olivet, a couple of droppers and your hook. So you're not quite ready to start. This rig here is slightly too long for my whip, so I'll shorten that down and I'll show you how to do that. Shortening the rig. So ideally when you're whip fishing you want to be able to have the whip in your right or left hand, depending on which handed you are, and the hook in the other hand with just a slight tension on the tip. That way you can flick the rig out where you want it to go. At the minute the rig I'm using is slightly too long. As you can see, it's miles too long, so I've got to take probably about 2.5 foot off that. So what we're going to do is drop the rig in the water just down here, just so it's not going to snag any reeds, and we're going to take about 2.5 foot off the rig, about there. So all we're going to do here is tie an overhand knot or a loop, double back the line, form a loop, pinch with your right thumb and index finger, and just going to go around once, twice. I'm just going to pull, and you're left with a fairly substantial sized loop to start off with. I'm just going to trim the tag off. I'm just going to repeat the process. So I'm going to slide the sleeve back. Make sure you disregard the line, like so. You don't want that going everywhere. So you want to put that roughly where you in your bag or in your pocket, just so it's not going to blow away. Right, just repeat the process, loop into the hook like so, slide the sleeve, and then second sleeve over to stop that one from sliding down, and away we go. We're back in business. So as you can see now, the rig is slightly shorter and is a perfect length. So we're still not quite ready to get out fishing. A lot of anglers make a mistake of just guessing the depth. They come in the shop and they ask, what depth is it, mate? Well, you need to find the exact depth. Someone's 2 foot is different to someone's 3 foot. So the first thing you need to do is buy yourself a plummet. Now they're very cheap, you can call them plumb bobs, whatever you want to call them. But these are like a neoprene bottom with a rubber coating, or you can buy the traditional cork plummets. They all do the same job. So you take your hook, pass it through the loop or the big eye of the plummet, like so. And then we're just going to hook it in the bottom here, like that, and just pull it tight. So now we're going to plumb the depth. So I don't know if you can see my float, it's sort of quite near the top of, near to the whip, and the hook's down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick a marker, preferably something that's not going to move. I'm just going to fish down here so it's nice and easy to feed accurately. We're just going to drop it down. So all we're going to do is lower it down opposite our marker and wait for the plummet. You'll feel the tension from the plummet onto the tip of the whip. It's like a clonking. Sometimes the connector will make a noise. As you can see, the float is probably 6 to 8 inches out of the water. So in this scenario, we're too deep. So what the aim is to pull the float down or be fishing so we're just touching the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring it in now. I'm going to take about 5.5, 6 inches off that and see where we are. So just going to swing it to hand, slide the whip down, hold the main line tight and then slide it down roughly what we think we need to shallow up by. So I probably took 5.5 inches off that. And I'm just going to repeat the process, same marker, drop it down nice and slowly. Now we're probably 2 inches. We're just going to move it down just slightly. And then we should be the perfect depth. Obviously if you put the rig in and the float is under the water, it means you're fishing too shallow. So you'd be doing the reverse of what we're doing now. You'll be pushing your float up rather than down. So we're just going to put that in again. And now, as you can see, the bristle is just out of the water. And that is what I would say is perfect for the fish we're going to be trying to catch today. They're the main essential tips that you'll need to start fishing.